Hello everybody, today we're here with You Can Talk Vintage, and this is episode number 13, my lucky number, and also this ukulele today is Ryan's favorite ukulele, close to it, but he's nuts for this ukulele. He is nuts. See that? Nut? I love my little neck.
I think the viewers can see who's nuts.
Thanks to my cousin Dana in Kona who got me this. I love this. Anyways, today, episode 13, we're here with a really special instrument. It is very, very old, very vintage. So Ryan, why don't you tell us about this wonderful instrument?
Thank you. I would say this is my crown jewel of my instrument collection. I'm extremely lucky to have this instrument. So this ukulele dates to the 1890s. So when you look at ukulele building, the first builders came from Portugal in 1886. So when you talk about this instrument, it was probably built in the first 10 years of ukulele existence in Hawaii. And instruments of this age just don't pop up very often. It's been so long since they were built, they just don't exist.
Now this is not a koa instrument, which traditional Hawaiian instruments, people think koa. Why don't you tell us about the wood that's used and maybe the story behind why this isn't koa?
Yeah, it's not koa. The soundboard is pine, and the sides and back appear to be mahogany. We don't know what the neck was made out of. It's not a easily identifiable wood, which is okay. The earliest instrument, since this is coming out of the Portuguese tradition, the European tradition of guitar building, what is one of the most traditional woods? They would use pine and mahogany. So that's what the earliest builders were using. So early instruments from Nunez and Santo and Diaz, the ones that do exist, the real early ones, some of them are known to have used these materials.
What wood do you think the bridge is on this one?
It's rosewood.
Okay.
So the soundboard, or the fretboard, and the bridge are rosewood.
Really nice grain on the rosewood here. Very pretty fretboard.
Brazilian rosewood. So, other people who know far more than I do have, told me Hawaii, it wasn't that hard. They would get woods that came from the West Coast, came from South America. Honolulu was built from woods that came from the West Coast of the United States.
And then it looks like there's a mustache here on the bottom. Tell us about that. What material do you think was used for that?
I know what material it is. When I first got the instrument, I thought it was maybe paint, because you can't feel anything when you run your finger over. It's actually tortoiseshell.
Real tortoiseshell.
Real tortoiseshell. There was no fake tortoiseshell.
The turtle had to sacrifice its life for this instrument.
Unfortunately so. It's got a real...
Shame.
It is
PETA,
a shame.
don't yell at us, PETA, please.
Well, it's against the law to use these materials, right. And it's got a really interesting piece of wood in the end here, and it's unidentifiable. You can't even see any grain in that piece of wood.
No.
These all give us clues to who may have built this instrument, and the wonderful and the frustrating thing is it has elements of different builders from the very earliest builders, Nunez and Santo and Diaz. So it's got elements from each of the builders, but it really doesn't, it's not attributable to any of those three absolutely. Now the interesting thing to me also, with some of my very generous collector friends, I've had this side by side with Nunez built early instruments and Santo built early instruments. And what's really clear about that is that from instrument to instrument, their early builds are very different from one instrument to the next. Mm-hmm. So could this have been built by Santo? Perhaps. By Nunez? Perhaps. By Diaz? Perhaps. The one thing that puts it the tiniest bit later is this crown headstock, which Nunez was known to use and Santo was known to use. The earliest instruments so far tend to have kind of a figure 8 shaped headstock. This one does not.
Very nice. I like the rope binding that they put on there.
Yeah, I love the rope binding. And it's not a bright, like really loud instrument. And I think this is probably about as close to the sound that you get out of this instrument as what the earliest ukuleles really sounded like. And we've tuned it up a step because the typical tuning was in A when
Right.
when this was made.
Well, let's hear what this thing sounds like. Chimey, nice, really pretty. So there we are for episode number 13, You Can Talk Vintage. If you know anything else about this instrument, have any other details, if you have one of these, please write vintageukes@yahoo.com. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you again soon.